start out with finishing up the shaping. You can see how it's like rough back there. It's like divoted, and so I'm gonna straighten that off with a file. Okay, so that's what it looks like now. As you can see, there's a nice straight line now. Went over with a little sandpaper so you can see the evenness. So, yep. Okay, so before I can start actually doing the design, you can see it's all. Let's see if I can get it. You can see it's pretty rough. So I have to clean all that up, because if I don't, there'll be some pretty deep scratches in the metal when I have my design on there. So I'm just going to clean it up with a piece of sandpaper over a file, and then I'll make it look nice and get all the burrs and everything from the sanding on the other side. So, yep, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I drew on the design that I'm going to do with Sharpie, and that's what it's going to look like. So, I have my fish that I always do on my knives, and then just little, I don't know, little line, pretty simple design. And as you can see, I have a little bit of room from here to there, and I'm not going to put any design on this, but I might think of like a small little design to finish up the top of the knife. So, but right now I'm just gonna etch in this and do the file work for this little design right here. Okay, I'm gonna start out using a flat needle file. See how it's flat, or something like this. Anything flat, this is what I use. Just anything flat for the first lines. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. I didn't realize that my camera wasn't recording when I was doing the fish, so I get cut out because I had too much video file or whatever saved, so that it couldn't record. But I'm going to finish up this little design on this side, then maybe get to the other little one. So I'm going to do next. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It's looking nice, but halfway through I messed up over here, and I got really nervous for a second because it was didn't look too good. The line got too thick over here because I was going at a different angle. Because when I'm working with the camera around, it's kind of hard to get because I'm used to not working with a camera. I'm just used to just going moving around, but I have to limit myself of movement when the camera's here. But yeah, so I fixed it so it looks nice, and now I was kind of drawing some different designs and stuff for what I'm gonna do for this. I think I'm just gonna finish up with an easy, simple, couple triangle look, and I'm gonna draw it on the blade so you see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what it's gonna look like. Let's see if I can zoom in. Yep, and it's kind of shaded, but yeah, so that's what it's going to look like. I mean, that's rough because it was a Sharpie, but that's what it's basically going to look like. So I'm gonna set up the camera and finish it up. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. And as you can see, it's pretty rough, some scratches, but I'm going to clean that up with a little piece of sandpaper over a file, because you don't want your file work on top to look rounded, because if it does, it just, it looks okay, but then the creases don't stay as crisp and everything, so just use a file or something flat, maybe like I use this knife sometimes if I don't want to get sometimes if my paper gets thin, so the file rubs through it and then grinds it even more on the top, so whatever you have that's flat will work. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so this is what the file work design looks like right now. And the file work is done. So I think it looks really nice. It's pretty sleek, but it's also really useful because this is it's a really deep design, and the fish goes down really deep, as you can see on the side, and that just really helps it give it grip, and it makes the knife overall more useful, so your hand's not slipping off when you're carving. So okay, so in this stage of the process, I usually would shape the tang, but I'm actually going to sand the blade right now because last time when I did the shaping of the tang before I started sanding the blade, the blade when I was sanding was all wobbly and it was all moving and stuff, so this will allow it to be more sturdy when I'm sanding. And I'm actually not going to be recording the whole thing and then speed it up like I have been doing. I'm just going to be sanding it and showing you the different levels of stages of sandpaper because it just takes so long. I'm going to be sanding for probably an hour on each stage, so it takes a while, so you don't really need to see me just sanding and sanding over and over. But so I'm going to start off with 220 grit wooden sandpaper. Okay, so I've been sanding with the 150 for a little while. It's not done with the 150, but I was just going to give you guys a tip when sanding. Usually, in my first knife, what I did is I would sand with my hand, all with my hand, like this. It was just with sandpaper, all with my hand, just like that, and get it good, and get it. And what I didn't realize is that it was rounding off all my edges, like this. It was rounding this off at the top, rounding this off, rounding this back here off, rounding. It just, it was rounding everything off, and it wasn't looking like a real knife. It was looking just kind of like, it wasn't looking crisp, is what I'm trying to say. It was like, it wasn't like this one where it has nice cut lines and everything. It was just looking like, I don't know, it was looking like just a mediocre knife. But this one, but one thing you can do is cover anything flat with a piece of sandpaper, and then then go back and forth like this, and that will keep all these lines straight because this is straight. So it'll keep all this stuff straight, and it'll also help your blade. It'll get your blade sharper and sharper as you go. So it's just like, just go like this, back and forth, but don't keep in the same line. Don't go like this. Try to keep in the same exact spot. Try to move around a little bit, because if you keep in the same spot, you'll start making a grain, and then grain, and then it'll dig down into the knife, and it'll be harder to get those scratches off when you go to a higher grit sandpaper. So that's just one tip I have. Okay, so this is what the blade looks like right now. Try to zoom in on the scratches. As you can see, that's about the scratch level. Probably took me 45 minutes to just get all the first scratch layer off. And then now I'm going to jump up to 220 grit. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. You can see that the grains are a little finer. And next I am going to go over it with 600 grit 600 grit metal sandpaper.
And this, I'm starting the tank from in here, so I'm going to get it in the middle. So I'm just going to get this side to be even with this side.
Okay, so this is what the tang looks like right now. And now I'm going to shrink the width down on both sides a little bit. And one thing I do is I go from this cutting disc, let's see if I can sharpen it up, and then I just grind at intervals all the way down to the end. Then I have all these little divots all the way through. Then I go on my grinder, make it all thin. Okay, so this is the divots, like I said. I get all these divots, so you can see on the edges. And then I go over it with the grinder. Okay, so this is what it looks like now. As you can see, it's thinner on both sides. So, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to thin it out a little bit more, round it off with the grinder, and then I'm going to take it onto my my sanding belt. Okay, so this is what the tang looks like right now. So it's pretty straight. And now I'm going to go on my sanding belt and straighten it all out. Okay, so this is what the tang looks like right now. As you can see, it's more rounded. And this is the blade. And in the next video, I am going to straighten out the back of the knife, straighten out the base of the tang right back here, and then I'll be able to heat treat the knife. Then after I heat treat the knife, I can start the buffing process.